Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. As we wrap up Series 5, yesterday we featured this really fun team with Luxray, so playing a couple more games with it today. You can learn more in the description below. And for the first game of the day, we're actually going up against the Mono Water type team. Well, near Mono Water type team. The Urshifu is actually dark. This team was piloted by a Spanish player, and they were actually able to win a really big online grassroots tournament with this team. It's actually really incredible. So excited to go up against it. I don't remember all of the full sets exactly. I believe it was like Goggles, Gyarados. I think the Seaking is definitely going to be huge here, just for Lightning Rod. So we're going to want to try to play around that. This is interesting because Primarina loses a lot of value. It's not like Spike's Hyper Voices are nearly as good here. Obviously, I can get a Tailwind off with Talonflame. The question really is, what Pokemon to Dynamax? Talonflame Dragapult's interesting. Like, I think we still want Luxray in this game. I don't think we want Incineroar, so it's probably going to be Dragapult, Talonflame, Terrakion, and Luxray, just like putting on as much offensive pressure as possible, damage-wise. So let's see. I could set up Tailwind, but I don't really know if I need Tailwind. It does help out a little bit against Dracovish. One lead I could potentially go with is just Dragapult, Terrakion. If my opponent hasn't seen this team, they might even be worried about beat up turn 1. And then have Talonflame in the back for speed control and Luxray. Talonflame getting a single Brave Bird off here is actually pretty valuable as well. So let's go with this. And yeah, let's just jump into today's episode. Question of the day. Yesterday I asked what you all think will be better in Series 6, and now today I'm curious if there are any Pokemon that you think will get substantially worse in Series 6 after transitioning from Series 5. I'm not sure what the best answers to this honestly are. Like, Milotic is interesting because it hasn't seen that much usage, and it will get better in the sense that, like, Rillaboom isn't around, but then, like, Incineroar also isn't around. Although I do think, like, Arcanine is going to see a big spike in usage. So let me know what you all think in the comments below. It's going to be Dracovish and Lapras. Okay. I mean, one play I honestly kind of want to make here is just, like, Max and then Phantasm close combat into the Lapras. Especially if Lapras maxes here. But I could also see my opponent, like, protecting here. But, yeah, does my opponent read into it? Otherwise, like Lapras protecting here is somewhat obvious. Phantasm close combat's pretty safe for the most part. And if Dracovish locks itself into Fisher's Wren, then, you know, that won't be doing that much damage into my Dragapult. So, yeah, I'm going to double up onto Lapras here. Could have maybe gone for Rock Slide, but wasn't sure if that'd be enough to pick up the knockout. And I could miss Rock Slide as well, which is part of the problem. So let's see if Lapras decides. If Lapras maxes and just attacks turn 1, we're in a really, really good spot. I mean, it is kind of safe to just go for a max guard turn, or protect with it turn 1, I guess. Looks like it is going to commit the max, so let's see if it ends up going for a guard or not. Because if not, and we just eliminate Lapras turn 1, we're in a really good spot. Sure, Dracovish is pretty threatening, but Lapras is the main threat, mainly because screens going up would be really annoying to play against, especially because this team is just so offensive. And if you're not able to pick up those one-hit knockouts, you struggle a little bit more. So let's see if Lapras decided to max guard. Okay, no max guard, perfect. We actually outspeed the Dracovish. I thought it was Scarf Dracovish, but maybe it was Bandit? Or actually, Scarf Dracovish doesn't even outspeed max speed Dragapult, right? I think if you're... I don't remember if Jolly versus Admin. Yeah, so it is Scarfed. So the fact that we outspeed with Dragapult's a really big deal, because now this close combat should just pick up the knockout onto Lapras after the defense drop. So let's see, close combat comes out, and that's a one-hit KO, perfect. Nice. Okay, so obviously that puts us in a really, really good spot. Dragapult exerts a lot of pressure now against the entire team. We even outspeed the Dracovish. Honestly, I think Life Orb Phantasm might just KO the Dracovish after the defense drop, which would allow us to get another defense drop on whatever's coming in. It's going to be the Urshifu. But that's fine, I think. Like, here, I could just go for a Wormwind into the Dracovish. And I could actually quick attack into the Urshifu, just to get an attack off before fainting. Now, I guess Urshifu could Sucker Punch into the Terrakion slot. But the quick attack now means that a Brave Bird will just finish it off with Talonflame in this late game. And yeah, Scarf Dracovish not being able to outspeed Dragapult helps us here, meaning that it doesn't even get to, pick up a knockout before leaving. So we are in pretty good shape right now. Actually just opted for close combat into Terrakion. Okay. That's fine by me. I'm surprised to not see a target onto the Dragapult there, maybe trying to crit that slot, but I guess you probably know you're not going to knock out anyway. Although a Wicked Blow into Sucker Punch might have been enough to pick up the knockout there. But now I can just bring in Talonflame. I think my opponent's last Pokemon's definitely going to be the Luxray, or sorry, not Luxray, Seaking. So I want to bring in Talonflame because I can just go like Phantasm into Seaking, Brave Bird into the Urshifu. Yep, they're Seaking. So this team is really funny because it's like mono water, but the Urshifu is actually dark, and having dark Urshifu is actually really important. And you get thrown kind of off guard, especially because like when this team first came out, no one knew what it did, right? So like the element of surprise was definitely a huge advantage, which is super cool to see. So I think here we can just go for a Wormwind into Seaking. Wormwind or Phantasm. I mean, I think doubling up onto Seaking here is fine. Oh, it's a little laggy here. Apologies for that. Yeah, I'm going to Wormwind and Brave Bird into Urshifu. Okay. No Protects come out, which was surprising. But we get the Brave Bird off. That's enough for a knockout. And Phantasm should just finish things off here. Yeah. It was going to be tough to lose this game after turn 1, I think. If I just get that knockout onto the Lapras, that puts us in a really good spot. Yeah, we actually just one-shot the Seaking with Dragapult, which is nice. So that finishes it off. And we'll take the first game pretty comfortably. Having knowledge of the team definitely helps a bunch, obviously. Plus, I feel like you really have to get as much out of your max as possible. I think the only Pokemon you can really max in that matchup is probably the Lapras, which makes this pretty tough. Because Lapras is obviously super weak to the Terrakion plus Dragapult combination. But yeah, one play obviously my opponent could have made turn 1 was just max guard. I don't get anything off, and then turn 2 you can just Vicious Red. Although, if you max guard turn 1, given that the Dragapult's still faster, I could probably just Wormwind into the Dragapult, or sorry, the Dracovish slot and then close combat turn 2. That still does a ton of damage. This is one heck of a second team, though. Boltund, Heracross, Weezing, Dubwool, Arcanine, and Lax. I don't even know what we're staring down here, but that's super interesting. Okay. I gotta worry about, like, Dubwool potentially setting up. Obviously, Weezing can cancel abilities, which is actually a pretty big deal for a lot of our teammates here. Yeah. What are the odds my opponent leads, like, Boltund? I think decently likely. But we outspeed everything with Dragapult, so I kind of want to go Dragapult Primarina. Because my opponent doesn't have any water resists either, or immune, so like Specs Hyper Voice will do a lot, especially if I combo with like Max Airstream from the Dragapult. And in the back, who do I want? We could really bring any of these. I mean, the whole team comp on my opponent's end is just really fascinating to me. I think Dragapult Primarina. A part of me wants Talonflame Primarina, but if my opponent leads Boltund plus Weezing, that gets a little shaky. So let's go with Dragapult Primarina, Talonflame in the back, and Terrakion's the better bring, but we don't get to use Luxray very often, so I'm just going to bring it. Just because I think you could go with either here. Terrakion's probably the smarter bring in a best of one, but I think Luxray could still put in a lot of work even if we're not maxing it. The reason why Terrakion's probably a little bit better is because it is faster than most of my opponent's team, whereas Luxray is a little bit slower. It's going to be Weezing Arcanine. Okay, that's fine by me. Question is what I want to do turn 1, because obviously Weezing does cancel Primarina's ability. So, you know, Hyper Voice obviously isn't going to be super effective. I gotta worry about Will-O-Wisp potentially as well. What if I just Hydro Cannon Arcanine turn 1 though? Like, protect here with Dragapult? and Hydro Cannon into Arcanine. That's kind of aggressive, but I actually do think Arcanine's kind of annoying to deal with here. They're maxing. What is maxing here? Weezing? That would be crazy. No, they max Arcanine. Okay. Oh, I wonder if it's going to be a max Lightning into Primarina then. That would be super interesting. I suspect Hydro Cannon might still pick up the knockout onto that, to be honest. So let's see what they go for. It's max Starfall. Wow. Well, maybe it's a good thing we didn't max the Dragapult then. That was pretty much the last thing I expected. I don't think I've seen max Starfall Arcanine ever, but it does get access to play rough, so that's super interesting. And it's Life Orb, okay. But Hydro Cannon connects, which is huge, and that is just a one-hit KO. Nice. So our decision to go for the Hydro Cannon was even better here, because my opponent committed Dynamax to Arcanine, which you don't see every day. And Sludge Bomb into Primarina. Okay, well, they can't poison, which is good. We still have Dynamax in the back. This is still scary, though, because like I can't attack with Primarina next turn, so it's probably just going to faint to Weezing Sludge Bombing. And yeah, my opponent has Boltund in the back. Okay. Yeah, this is still far from over. Boltund's probably going to be sashed, right? Luxury loses a lot of value because like the terrain is up. So I might just max Dragapult here, honestly. Go for a... You can't like put me to sleep, or sorry, paralyze me right now, which is pretty good as well. So I think just going for a Phantasm into Boltund is fine. Yeah. And then I can just bring in Talonflame. These defense drops are nice too, because it sets up Luxray and Talonflame for the late game. I didn't expect Life Orb max Starfall Arcanine though. Like, I just wanted to get rid of Arcanine because I thought it would be kind of annoying for like Will-O-Wisps into us, and I was like, I don't want to max turn one because I don't think I can one-shot either Pokemon. I was considering Airstreaming into Hyper Voice there. Weezing protects, which is even better for us. Kind of surprised to see that, because I don't know what Boltund really does here. Maybe it goes for, I don't know, like a Ice Fang and a Dragapult, but I don't think that KOs without a Life Orb, and obviously the Life Orb was on Arcanine. Let's see. Defense drop. He's going to commit just Thunderbolt into Primarina. Okay, yeah, that's fine by me. This gives us a free switch in now, and I can just go out into Talonflame. Do I want to go into Talonflame or Luxray, actually? Who did my opponent have in the back? Snorlax? Let's go into Talonflame, I think. Because I don't really need the speed. So, like, here I can just go for Phantasm onto the Boltund and Flare Blitz. Yeah. The reason I want to Flare Blitz here is so that I get that second defense drop. Let me just make sure, because that's why I wanted to prioritize Dragapult, because it outspeeds everything on my opponent's team. Yeah, and I think Luxray actually cleans this up in the late game, especially if I could give it a speed boost the next turn. So here, I'm just going to Phantasm, Boltund. I don't think Flare Blitz, even at -2 defense, KOs Weezing, unfortunately, because Talonflame's attack is just kind of mediocre, but let's see. Okay, so there's Phantasm. -2 defense on Weezing now. Oh, actually, I could have Brave Birded, right? Because Gale Wings is cancelled here. And because I have the Beak, yeah, that would have done more damage. It would have knocked out Weezing, so that was a mistake. I forgot about abilities being cancelled here still. That's fine, though. I don't think Weezing really does anything that scares me too much here. And obviously, it's going to get knocked out by another attack. It's going to just offer Sludge Bomb into Talonflame, which is fine. Don't even know if that knocks out. Yeah, it doesn't. Because, like, now I think even a Phantasm through Protect KOs the Weezing. Let's see what the last one is. It's actually going to be Dubwool. Okay. Which I guess could be scary, but here, I think Phantasm into Weezing just KOs it. And just Brave Bird onto the Dubwool. Dubwool really scares me for, like, Cotton Guard stuff, but that's not going to be able to do enough at this point in the game, as Dubwool actually commits the Protect, but yeah, now I get that defense drop onto that, as Weezing actually has to Protect as well. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But Luxray, once it gets the... Yeah, and that just KOs through Protect. Luxray, once it gets the Guts Flame Orb off as well, like Superpower would just KO Dubwool, so this should just be over now. Interesting team for sure. A lot of Pokemon you don't expect to see very often. Yeah, so now it's at -1 defense. I want to make sure we stall the terrain effectively, so then Luxray gets the Guts. Because right now Flame Orb won't activate. Yeah, I don't even think Dragon Dart's Brave Bird here is a knockout, but we should take enough recoil where it's a free switch it into Luxray, so yeah, I think we can just Dragon Darts and Brave Bird here with little downside. The one play that could have been different in this game, I think, was going for Brave Bird instead of Flare Blitz into the Weezing slot. It's pretty good damage on a Dubwool, 40% already. I don't think Brave Bird will KO, probably leaves it with like 5-10%, but then I think Luxray should finish this off. Oh, actually, took that a lot better than I expected. And there's the Cotton Guard, yep. So maybe I should have just gone for a Heart Switch there. Cotton Guard, Protect, Body Press, presumably. Yeah, I want the free switching into Luxray. So, like, it gets the defense boosts, but I don't even know if it can survive this double up again. And even if it does, like, Talonflame will just KO itself to get a free switch into the Luxray. I would think we knock out here, though, but let's see. There's just too much offense for Dubwool in this format right now. Yeah, we pick up the knockout there. Nice. Okay, so pretty straightforward game here for the most part. Honestly, the Boltund scared me more than anything, which is why I prioritized Dragapult. But yeah, the Hydro Cannon into Arcanine. Like, I wasn't even expecting Arcanine to max, and it makes this look even better. Definitely, I can respect that play from my opponent's end as well, because if I just max Dragapult turn 1, that puts us in a really bad spot. Yeah, so just support Chesto Rest with Cotton Guard and Body Press. So it actually didn't have a way to touch the Dragapult, which meant we were always going to be in a pretty good spot. Flame Orb Heracross and Life Orb, no Protect Arcanine. Last one being AV Snorlax. Really interesting team. Yeah, I think Dubwool could have been pretty scary, honestly, as well, especially in the late game. But given that it only had Body Press, it never could touch Dragapult. That being said, it could continuously heal itself up. So was slightly concerned that we wouldn't pick up the knockout there, and then it would get the rest off. And then, like, Talonflame doesn't knock itself out either from recoil. So I was, like, fishing for the free switch into Luxray. We're actually going up against Santi's Coalossal team, which we actually used on Road to Rank previously a few weeks ago. But if you haven't seen, Santi actually won the Players' Cup Finals with an edited version of this team. So it's definitely a really strong option, and I think Santi had a phenomenal performance. If you haven't seen the Players' Cup Finals, by the way, you should definitely check it out. It's on Pokemon's Twitch and YouTube channel. So we obviously know what's coming our way, right? It's going to be Coalossal. And what's interesting is that, like, most players, or obviously, like, people can't pilot this team as well as Santi. And so, like, a lot of players, when they play with Coalossal, they get greedy and kind of just, like, lead Coalossal right away, which sometimes is the right way to play it, right? But Santi's performance with this team was incredible because he had great awareness on when to lead Coalossal and when not to lead Coalossal, and I think that's really, really important when using a team like this. But this is actually a pretty scary matchup. So you always have to prepare for the Dragapult Coalossal or the Urshifu Coalossal. I actually really don't know what to lead with here. I think I want to go Talonflame, Primarina, Dragapult, and Terrakion. This makes me really weak to the Rillaboom, though, doesn't it? I don't think Luxray is the call here because it doesn't have a way to hit the Coalossal for super effective. The idea behind Talonflame Primarina is I can just, like, Tailwind max turn 1. But depends on what he leads with here. This team is really, really good, though, especially when piloted by a phenomenal player like Santi. It's going to be Coalossal Kiss. Oh, that's really good for us. I am surprised by that lead, to be honest, because there is nothing stopping me from a turn 1 Tailwind Hyper Voice here, I think. Yeah, that's a super safe play here. Like, you could switch out in a Rillaboom, maybe, but once I get the Tailwind off, Talonflame pressures Rillaboom. I don't even have to Dynamax turn 1. This is, like, kind of a dream lead, to be honest. I am really surprised to see Togekiss plus Coalossal, because basically with this lead, you're saying I'm not gonna get the Weakness Policy Steam Engine off turn 1, which maybe is fine. Like, that definitely makes sense kind of as a game plan. But us having Specs Primarina is really, really good for us here. And if it is just Santi's team, which I believe it is, at least it's the same 6 Pokemon, then the Togekiss' only attack is Air Slash. We can Air Slash or Yawn here. It's actually going to be a Dynamax anyway. Interesting. Well, even if Coalossal survives the Hyper Voice, which it probably does, like, Dragapult can just max and outspeed it. So I think this is fine. I wonder if the idea behind this lead was to go for Follow Me with Togekiss turn 1 to prevent Max Geyser. Yeah. Okay. I think that works out really nicely for us, then, honestly. So we get Tailwind off. I could have gone Brave Bird Hyper Voice, but I think Speed Control is more important just because if Coalossal survives this. Let's see if it survives. It doesn't survive. I don't think I've ever remember a Road to Ranked episode where we picked up the knockout onto a Dynamax Pokemon turn 1 all 3 games. But that's exactly what happened in this episode. This is why Specs Primarina is so cool, too. That damage output is just insane. And a lot of people, once again, when you see Primarina come out, you expect it to Dynamax. Yeah, it's like Rillaboom comes out now, but I don't think my opponent can really do very much, to be honest. You're going to Glide here for sure into Primarina. So this is where, like, maybe I should have brought in Incineroar, but this team, if you don't get anything off with Coalossal, it's really tough, to be honest. I might actually just let my opponent knock me out here with the Glide, to be honest. Because it gives me a free switch in. And you take so much recoil damage as well. So I'm just going to Brave Bird here into Rillaboom and go for a Hyper Voice. Sorry, you don't take recoil damage, because it's Glide, not Wood Hammer. But nonetheless, it gives me the free switch into Dragapult. And once you lock yourself into Grassy Glide, you're not doing very much into my Dragapult. Togekiss should survive the Brave Bird here. So we'll see if it decides to opt for a Follow Me or not. But either way, that was like the perfect turn 1 for us. And Togekiss even opts to Protect, so it's even better for us. Like, but that's why I'm targeting Rillaboom here. This isn't going to KO, but it should do like 75-80%, my guess. Never mind. I am just off with my Talonflame calcs. I didn't think that would one-shot. Talonflame is honestly a pretty underwhelming Pokemon, so I really thought Rillaboom would survive there, but I guess I forgot to account for the Sharp Beak, which I've been forgetting a lot while playing with this team. So, that's actually a really impressive calc. Given that you can one-shot Rillabooms, maybe Talonflame should have seen a little bit more usage throughout the course of the format. So Urshifu's the last one, but this is pretty much a clean sweep. We can just Brave Bird into Togekiss now and Hyper Voice. We haven't even maxed yet, but... Oh, actually, I was going to say... Like, we don't have priority on Brave Bird anymore, so you can obviously just Aqua Jet into the Talonflame, but it doesn't really matter with us having Dragapult in the back. The game's pretty much wrapped up. So, that's the thing with Primarina when you're playing up against Coalossal. Huh. No Aqua Jet. That's interesting. So I guess it's Surging Strikes. Yeah, Brave Bird actually almost knocks out Togekiss. Which I have to say, like, this Talonflame's offensive potential has actually impressed me more than I'm used to, but I guess that's all the difference that the Sharp Beat makes. Yeah, it was just Surging Strikes. Okay, so I don't know why you don't go for an Aqua Jet there. I feel like that's probably safer, but to be honest, there was nothing my opponent could do after turn 1. Like, Specs Hyper Voice one-shotting a Maxmon is just so powerful. Okay. So, now... I'm just bringing Dragapult. Yeah, we can just Darts Hyper Voice, to be honest. Don't need to spend the time maxing. And that's why it's really important when you're playing with... Especially if you're using Santi's team, it's all about enabling Coalossal. And that's part of the reason why, like, the open team sheet format was really interesting. You know, Santi said he was able to identify the biggest threats to Coalossal. Like, obviously, if you know your opponent has Specs Primarina, you're going to be a lot more wary of leading Coalossal immediately, right? So, like, one interesting way around this is if my opponent just led Rillaboom. Rillaboom Coalossal is actually really interesting because then you at least pressure with the knockout onto Primarina with Glide turn 1. Although I guess now we know the Brave Bird calc is actually a one-hit KO, impressively enough. Yeah, I'm not mad. I mean, we could obviously could max here, but Double Up should pick up the knockout. Saves us the time of going through the Dynamax animation as well. So yeah, my opponent not knowing that I'm Specs here is obviously a big deal because it means we have a really, really easy way to knock out the Coalossal. You know, normally Coalossal kind of relies on this redirection to kind of protect it. It's the Dubwool, so almost tough for a knockout there by itself. Okay, so out. But yeah, it doesn't really matter to finish off. Coalossal before it gets anything off, it's just pretty much game over, right? You're not gonna be able to do very much at all. Because you need to at least get a Boltund off and get residual damage off. If not, then you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So there's one shot at this speech here, but once again, having information on these teams going into the battles is obviously kind of a big advantage. We've used this team previously. Plus, I commentated a lot of Santese games, so I think from my opponent's shoes, one mode you can go with is like Rillaboom Coalossal, because at least the Rillaboom pressures Primarina with Choice Band Grassy Glide. That's why the Choice Band Rillaboom is such a good call as well, because going into, you know, or Coalossals in general don't like to go up against Water-type Pokemon, but if there's one thing that puts on pressure against Water-type Pokemon, it's a Choice Banded Rillaboom. Alright, last game for the day. Pretty standard Sun Trick Room team. I mean, it's pretty much as standard as it gets. Can I bring Luxray here? We went up against a very similar team comp yesterday, right? And in that one we had Primarina, Terrakion. Like, I want to lead Talonflame Bolt here, but that is really weak to Tyranitar, like Togekiss specifically. I feel like Togekiss comes out pretty often with these team comps too. I want to bring the Pult just because we have the Airstream. Yeah, I'm going to go Talonflame Pult. Terrakion on the back, and I think Primarina. As much as I want to bring Luxray, it just doesn't make that much sense when I can... Oh, actually, I have Superpower into Tyranitar. I just think Dragapult's a little bit more consistent to Dynamax. But you know what? We don't get to play with Luxray very often. I'm actually going to try Talonflame Luxray here, turn 1. As a lead with Primarina and Terrakion on the back. Let's give it a go. Why not? The main reason for this is because a lot of our opponents often lead Togekiss to counter the Dragapult. And so you can one-up your opponent in Team Preview expecting the Togekiss, which is kind of what happened yesterday, although I kind of fell into the trap of like attacking to protect Togekiss a bunch. One of the main problems with Luxray is that you want to pick up a knockout every turn. But if my opponent does lead like, you know, Tyranitar, Togekiss turn 1, it's actually pretty good for us. It's going to be Venusaur Tyranitar, though, which I like. You know, this is a smart lead. It gives you options to pivot out on turn 1, where, like, my opponent can just go Tyranitar into the Torkoal, get the boost immediately, or just stay in. Tailwind is super safe here, so I think we should go for that. Question is whether I max Luxray. I could see Venusaur maxing, and then, like, what I'm worried about is Life Orb Max Quake into Luxray. You pick up the knockout there, and then just Rock Slide and KO Talonflame as well. It might be safer to just, like, Tailwind Protect turn 1, because then I get a free switch in. Yeah, I like that. And I can see my opponent switching out here. Yep. Oh, but if I actually Tailwind Superpower there, we probably just would have won off turn 1. We'll see if Tyranitar decides to Protect here, or switch out. Okay, it's not... it should be Rock Sliding here, based off how my opponent is playing this, but that's fine. Although I honestly think a Superpower there might have just won us the game turn 1, but that's also okay. Yeah, just Rock Slides. So now I get the free switch into Dragapult, which is pretty good. Actually, I could go Primarina as well. I do have Specs Hyper Voice right now. I think Dragapult's probably better, though. And I honestly might not max Luxray. Oh, I didn't bring Dragapult, right. Never mind. Then we obviously can't go into that. That was a mistake, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's go into Primarina then. Yeah, I probably should have Dragapult in the back. Superpower turn 1 would have been super nice as well, but that's fine. I guess now the question is whether Hyper Voice into Max Lightning KOs Dusclops. I don't know if it does. I think it might survive, and if it does, that's really bad. So maybe I can't risk the Hyper Voice. I have to Moonblast here instead. Yeah, I think I'm going to Moonblast, Max, and Lightning. I could have also gone for Hailstorm Hyper Voice, which is pretty interesting. Superpower turn 1 into Tyranitar would have been great. But I was a little nervous of Like I said, if Venusaur just maxes turn 1, Max Quake into Luxray, and then you Rock Slide, I lose both Pokemon. If I don't max, I don't know if Max Knuckles KOing. Tyranitar could potentially Dynamax in that position as well. Okay, they actually commit the Ally Switch, which is fine by me, because we actually get the knockout onto the Tyranitar, and I set up Electric Terrain. So all things considered, that's actually a great turn. It's actually almost just a one-hit KO there. Wow. Yeah, now I set up the Electric Terrain, so I'm pretty sure we one-shot the Dusclops now. I've also got Tailwind up, so that helps, and if Venusaur comes in, I can just Hailstorm it. Now, one play my opponent can obviously make is bring out the Venusaur, and then you switch Dusclops out into Torkoal, get the Sun up, and then just Max Quake. But I think the Luxury should survive a Max Quake, and then I can just Life Orb Hailstorm in return and change the weather into our favor, so... Yeah, it's one of those positions where I think Ally Switch made a lot of sense for my opponent's end, but I was thinking Dusclops was the bigger threat anyway, so it works out even better for us. Hyper Voice would have been a little bit better there, I think, because it also does more damage until the Torkoal that could potentially switch him, but right now Luxury actually should just one-shot most of my opponent's team, and we have the Tailwind support for it, so that puts us in a pretty good spot. Okay. Yeah, Venusaur comes back out. I think we definitely Hailstorm into that slot right now. Hailstorm. I mean, the tricky thing here is that my opponent could Ally Switch again. Like, I think the best play here is to switch Dusclops out into Torkoal and just Max Quake. And if I call this double up correctly and I knock out Venusaur, game's just over pretty much. So, I'm going to double up into it. They could also just stay in, though, like, Ally Switch. Or you could even Max Guard Venusaur. Okay, there's the switch out, though. Yeah, I was going to say you could Max Guard Venusaur and Trick Room, but I think that would be really crazy, because you're going to always have Torkoal in the back here. Venusaur could Max Guard this turn, which actually would be really interesting. Which one way I could have gotten around was, like, doubling up onto the Dusclops switch out. But I think I still don't mind trying to pressure the Venusaur slot here, especially because we have the Flame Orb Guts boosted Max Hailstorm into that slot. Yep, there's Max Quake. I don't think this one-shots, but if it does, I'm going to be sad. Let's see. Oh yeah, that does not come close to knocking us out. Okay, perfect. And the reason why this is so good is now I also changed the weather back out into Hail, which means that I still have Tailwind up. Let's see if he's Life Orb too. He's not Life Orb, okay. So I don't know if Hailstorm Moonblast actually KOs, honestly. Let's see. That's really good damage, to be honest. With Specs plus the Hail damage, it might be enough to knock out Venusaur, honestly. Let's see. Moonblast. Almost. Okay. Yep, so we eat up Hail first. We're faster than Venu. Well, that's because Tailwind is still up, obviously. Okay. Yeah, we still have one turn of Tailwind, which means this should be game over, I think. You should protect Venusaur here and switch Torkoal out into Dusclops. I have Quick Attack Track out in the back. That actually just finishes it off Venusaur. So I think here it's fine to just Moonblast into the Venusaur slot and Max Lightning into the Torkoal slot. Yeah. Right now we outspeed with both Pokemon because Tailwind is up. So there's the Torkoal switch out, which isn't surprising. I think you have to Max Guard the Venu here as well. Luxury was incredible for us in this game, though. Yep, there's the Max Guard. Is there value to switching out Primarina there? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, we actually don't one-shot Dusclops, but that might not... I should have doubled up onto that slot. Not necessarily. There is a world in which like my opponent protects and attacks. Yeah, I mean, this next turn now... this gets a little dicier. I thought we'd one-shot Dusclops there, so I should have doubled up into that slot. I think Venusaur definitely goes for the Vine Lash here. Terrakion in the back is obviously pretty good to have, and I honestly want to double up onto the Dusclops slot. I do have to make the correct call on who's being targeted this turn. See, Terrakion in the back. Like, Primarina wins this with Hyper Voice pretty easily if I switch it out. But if I switch it out and I don't pick up a knockout here, that's pretty bad. I should have doubled up onto Dusclops this last turn, though. That was a mistake. The switch out was super obvious. I just assumed Max Lightning would pick up the one-hit KO. Ice Fang can miss, right? Yeah, we don't want to miss. I think we double up onto Dusclops here. Okay, they're going to Ally Switch. Which is fine. I think Ally Switch here is fine, because it means we get the knockout onto Venusaur guaranteed now. Okay, so there's Vine Lash. Onto Primarina. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we have Terrakion on the back. So I guess it comes down to what attacks my opponent has on the Torkoal. Because we'll knock out Venusaur here. Oh, is it a 2-on-1 though with Terrakion? Because then a Solar Beam and an Earth Power might just finish me off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we faint from the residual here. So, like, had I switched Primarina out there, this would have been over, I think. Because Primarina actually just closes out the game with Specs Hyper Voice. But now my opponent has Dusclops and Torkoal, which is why it was important to actually KO the Dusclops on the switch-in. I just got a little excited. Although that being said, like, covering the Venusaur attacking is still important that turn, because we make a really great... Like, let's say we double up into Torkoal, Torkoal protects, and then Venusaur just G-Max Vine Lashes, we lose off that. So, I was thinking it'd be fine to play it safe here. But the problem now is that Torkoal probably has a way to do a lot of damage. Like, you're going to have one of Earth Power... I mean, I'm definitely going to Rock Slide here. You're going to have one of Earth Power, Solar Beam, or Body Press. Now, the problem is that the Vine Lash actually gets off, right? We do hit the Rock Slide, so... Flinch here would win the game, or if my opponent just doesn't do enough damage to KO me with the Vine Lash damage, but... Oh, they actually yawn, but there's Electric Terrain! That was a big mistake on their end. Yeah. I mean, that was obviously just, like, they obviously forgot about the terrain. If you're running Yawn, maybe it doesn't actually have the, like, a lot of Torkoals nowadays are, like, what, you know, Burning Jealousy, Eruption, Yawn, Protect. So, there's a chance this didn't even have a way to hit us for super effective. Like, no Earth Power, Solar Beam, or Body Press. But we're gonna miss Rock Slide! Well, that will actually probably lose us the game now. But, that sucks. Okay, well, that's Pokemon for you. I'm, like, relatively okay with how I played this game, other than not getting the knockout onto Dusclops. I feel like I managed this game decently for the most part. I don't know if KOing Dusclops there would have been, like, a guaranteed win either, but that is a really frustrating miss. I can't risk the close combat there either. However, there's a chance we can still win this off a one-turn wake if they don't have a way to hit us for super effective. But 2 fire-type attacks will definitely knock us out, so even if you don't have Body Press, you'll end up doing enough damage here. That's frustrating. They actually had Body Press too, so I don't know. I think they should have just Body Pressed earlier. Yeah, but I guess... I don't think Body Press plus Sun Damage actually... Vine Lash... Well, okay. That you would get 2 Vine Lashes off, because what I think my opponent was supposed to do, what you should have done, was just Body Press, Protect, and then hope that the combination of Body Press plus 2 Vine Lash damages is enough to knock out the Venusaur, but... Yeah, I mean, I don't feel super bad about that one. I feel like for the most part, most of the plays were okay. The only, like, once again, the only play I would have made differently was... maybe we could have Hyper Voice with a Primarina instead of Moonblasting, but I don't regret Moonblasting there, because I don't think Max Lightning into Hyper Voice was actually a KO onto Dusclops, and if Trick Room goes up there, we're in really bad shape, because we set up the Tailwind. Turn 1, I could have Superpowered into Tyranitar. That might have been nice as well. But then, you get Trick Room up guaranteed. We could have had Dragapult in the back. That probably would have helped out a little bit in the matchup, because if I had Dragapult, I could just bring out Dragapult, and then just go Phantasm Superpower. Although I guess I'd still have to play around Ally Switch, so yeah, I mean 90% of the time we should win that game, but it is what it is. That being said, I think Body Press into 2 Vine Lashes might have been enough to knock out the Terrakion anyway, so maybe we got lucky into our opponent throwing a little bit and going for the Yawn instead of the Body Press initially. So they make a mistake but get bailed out by the miss, but yeah, I think I definitely had a better play to go for. Like, letting Dusclops stay around was a mistake, because if we pick up the knockout onto Dusclops, then given that Venusaur protected the previous turn, all I have to do is double up onto the Venusaur slot for a guaranteed knockout, and then I have the Terrakion against Torkoal endgame, basically. But yeah, definitely an interesting set of games. So that's me for this one. Thank you as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, peace.